So today we're going to talk about lubrication. There's 1,001 parts out there. Talk about lubrication and all that kind of stuff. Um, and I ran across a formula I use and I like it a lot. About a year or so ago, a little more than a year ago, from a different channel. And the situation I was having, I used to like using that Lucas oil, and I put it on handguns, I put it in your ARs, all that kind of stuff. And here in Houston, it gets crazy hot, and I keep my pistol on me pretty much all the time when I legally can. I keep it on me all the time. And I kind of discovered that in these hot summers, um, that Lucas oil would slowly drip down, and then pool and drip and make a stain in your holster and stain in your seat, and it was getting hot. It was getting in the heat. It was getting too thin, and became just too runny. A few times I've used wheel bearing grease, that Super Tech wheel bearing grease you buy at Walmart, and that is it works good. It's thick, it stays put, doesn't run. Um, and we don't have crazy cold winters here in Houston, but we have had some crazy cold snaps in just last few years, where it's gotten down to 17 degrees, 20 degrees, 24 degrees. It's gotten pretty cold. And so I did a little test, and I might one day do it again, put it on the camera. But I did a little test. I put some of that wheel bearing grease on a pistol, and just lubed it up the way I always do, and I put it in the freezer. And that wheel bearing grease actually got to the point where it actually sort of glued the frame and the slide together. If I would have pulled the trigger, it probably wouldn't have cycled that first round. Maybe the heat from the first round might have freed it up, but I would have to hand cycle that round to get it running. And same thing with ARs. I heard people using the good old fashioned just bearing grease from Walmart and stuff on their ARs and AKs and without any problems. But I kind of wonder if you live in a cold climate up north, northern Canada, Alaska, and northern half of the U.S., how would that bearing grease react when you're in 17 degrees, sub zero, Alaskan or even Canadian? Well, Canada don't have a problem no more. You can't want to gun up there. But yeah, if you're in Alaska and you're 40 below zero, how will bearing grease have effect on your firearm? The first time you pull that trigger, will it essentially glue everything together? So I actually ran across this cool little formula on a different YouTube channel, using a gear lube, a gear lubricant. It's like an 85-40 weight, 85 W40, and that same Walmart red Super Tech gear lube, that gear grease, bearing grease, how you want to call it. And it is basically just a 50-50. You get a whole bottle of this, 1 quart, and you get a whole tube of that bearing grease. And it takes a little bit to shake it. And if you have a blender, I feel even better. I don't have a blender for that kind of stuff, but I would scoop it up and throw it into a small. I had this to pour it off into a different container so I can put small segments at a time. Shake it, and bake it. Throw some Netflix on and just shake it until it was mixed. Dump it out and pour some more in there, more. And at the end of the day, it comes with this sort of a thick. In fact, I'll tell you why I like it so much. Let me pour some in here. Notice it has sort of a thick, syrupy honey texture. And this is what it comes out looking like. Yeah, it's thin enough to run. You put it in a jar and run it. Now, once you put it on your pistol, your AR, AK, whatever, the stickiness of it. Well, I wish I had gloves. I don't have gloves. It is what it is. That stickiness keeps it in place. I kept my handgun in my truck when it's 100, 101 outside, and some of the trucks probably 120, 130, whatever that is. And it doesn't run. It stays put. I've actually tested this in the freezer. I put a handgun and lubed it up, put it in the freezer, and it didn't glue the frame to the slide. It's a really cool Cool formula that's interesting. It stays put in the heat and doesn't glue stuff together in wintertime. So that's what I use. I got the have a Lucas bottle here. Lucas Gunnell. I dumped everything out of there and actually put that in there. I got another bottle from one of my ARs, a little bottle in there. But that's what I use. And so this is how in fact, I want to use my Jericho as sort of a show and tell. And this is a brand new bolt. This is I got a little AK pistol from, who'd I get it from? I can't remember now. It was cheap. It was like $500 cheap. I want to sound stupid now. I can't remember who made it. Anyway, it was super cheap. Anyway, here's the bolt came to it. And when the bolt came, I noticed it came completely dry, unlubed, nothing. And so I'm going to yank this apart and show how I lube up an AR bolt. And it might had a little controversy, it may not, I don't know, the way I do it. But yeah, this is how I lube up my basic AR platform and handgun. Now for my handgun, this is how I sort of see it. Any kind of shiny metal, that's your wear points. Like right here, you see a little part right here. This is where the barrel sits, and these little flat spots here actually have contact with this little piece here. So any place on a handgun or any firearm anyway, any place that you see a shiny spot, that is actually where metal on metal is contacting. Aside from the hammer, I mean, hammer is just gonna have wear. You don't put grease on, don't put no grease and oil on that. But everything else, it sort of tells you where metal on metal is. The recoil spring guide. If you can get the camera in focus, yeah, there's you see where the spring rides across this as the gun cycles. And this is my carry gun, but also I shoot this a lot. Lately, it's been like once a week. So I do put a lot of rounds to this, and maybe and again, people don't have to lube your guns to this extent. You can put a little lube on the side and on your rails and be good with it. But this is sort of how I like to lube my gun, and also that part also the reason why I had a problem with the Lucas oil being too thin. You'll see when I lube it, you'll see why I was having an issue with Lucas oil and how this little formula right here kind of works really well. So I like this I like the Lucas oil bottle because you have your little needle there that you can squirt and put things in there. It gets in little tight spaces. I kind of like that. So this is kind of what I do. Here's my slide. And as you can see, right down here is a little locking. That's where the barrel sits in there and the barrel locks. These little nubs here fit inside here. We notice this bit of shiny metal there. That's where this metal on metal contact. Same thing with this. The camera's not picking it up because of the lighting situation, but inside there is wear inside of where the barrel protrudes. And when the gun cycles, the barrel drops down past these little locking lobes there, and the barrel has a little bit of sliding, a little contact in there. So usually what I do, I'm trying to get it on camera where it's not all blurry and everything. I put this a little bit, just a tab to have on these little locking surfaces. And that's it, just a little dab. Because once you assemble your firearm and cycle a couple times, that will spread around nice and thin, and have a good even coat. Now you don't have to do this, you really don't. But just keep in mind that is where metal on metal contact, and this little bit of a lube here will have a little bit of a hydraulic cushion when this firearm cycles. Another thing I'll also do, and I'll show it in a minute, is the cool thing about the CZ platform is they have these nice, full length rails here, inserts. If you have a Glock or some of the other handguns that have this 4 little tabs, it's the same concept, kind of the same concept. So that's how this sits inside there. And again, when this is recoil, when the firearm is is recoiling, this here barrel will drop out of place and slide, and that sliding motion as the round ejects, it slides here and it's, has contacts on both sides. So usually what I do is besides there, you can't see it on camera. Well, maybe you can a little bit. Um, on a blued barrel, you'll be able to see it better. But there is actually wear, just slight where the machining is, where the machining's been wore off. There's slight wear, and that's metal. That's barrel contact to the slide. I just put this 3 little drops. That's all. That's all I do. 3 little drops, and that's it. And of course, the recoil spring guide. A lot of times I go ahead and just throw it in, throw the spring in. I don't always do much with this. I just put a little drop there, a little drop in the center, one right here, and that's usually enough. You probably can't see it, but that's usually enough because this will cycle back and forth. This spring will compress and uncompress, and that's usually all that's needed. And then basically, these little rail parts right here, I put one there, put one right there, I put one right there. Just, it don't have to be a lot, just enough to keep it, keep that metal on metal contact somewhat lubricated. And believe it or not, this little select your slide stop release slash keeper here. If you notice, there's when you see again, you see shiny spots. That is metal on metal. That's this actually when it goes to this hole here, it sits inside here. So that actually there's actually contact of stuff sliding back and forth and banging against it. And again, you don't have to put a lot of oil. Just the way I do it, just a little dab. Spread it around. That's it. And it will, as the once you put it together and you hand cycle it, your oil gets spread out a little bit. It'll spread around and find its the spot where it wants to be. And then when you take it to range, one thing I've also noticed is after your range day, you take it home and clean it. With this oil on it, well, for me at least, especially for the AR platform, it's a lot easier to clean because all your carbon and your soot is sort of on the oil, and it makes it a lot easier to just wash on off. So let me put this together off camera because I know YouTube is sometimes stupid about that kind of stuff. So here it is. It is slick. It is lubed. Again, with the regular Lucas I used to use, being in my holster, all the oil on the rails and the slide would eventually find itself at the bottom of this barrel here, either dripping out or whatever. Same thing with my AR. If I have my air in my truck somewhere, it'll be laying on its side, and all the oil goes to gravity, and you see every seam and every, I'll show you in a minute. But yeah, every little orifice that could leak oil was leaking oil. So that is how I do my pistol. Again, there's no right or wrong. I have a 22. Well, I used to have a 22 that I didn't oil ever because you put any kind of oil on it, any kind of oil, even the little thin Lucas oil. It made it just enough friction, enough viscosity to make it lag and it wouldn't fire right. It just liked to fire dry. And yeah, I've heard people firing your gun. They talk about, oh, my Glock. I don't oil my Glock because it's, that's fine. If you don't oil your Glock, don't oil your firearms, that is absolutely great. And it's not like I don't baby my gun. I mean, this is all holster wear. Like I said, I take it to range probably once a week, and just put holes in paper. So every week I'm putting 200, 300 rounds per. I get by the time I get out there and start shooting, I can spend about 30, 35, 40 minutes, 200 rounds. Sometimes I bring 300, 400, but mostly it's 200. All right, let me get this bolt inked apart Again, YouTube don't like it. And this actually something I do to AR bolts that, again, some people are like, what the heck? And some people are going to say, cool. But this is something I do to these bolts because, again, ARs can be carbon monsters. That direct impingement, this will get full of carbon after your couple hundred rounds at the day. Also, the fact that all your hot gases, impinge here and throw this bolt forward to cycle your weapon. There's a lot of stuff going on inside here that you really do need a lubricant. And also the very fact that this is a steel bolt inside of an aluminum upper, and if you run these things dry, this steel will eventually win the war because this is much harder than your aluminum. So this is what I do with the AR bolts. And again, I'm going to, let me take it apart off camera so YouTube doesn't fuss too much about this stuff. Okay, I'll wait and put some gloves on because I don't feel like getting all the with my hands. So yeah, this is, I'm still, it's embarrassing. I'm still trying, oh shoot. I'm sitting there trying to remember the name of the company. And do I have it on here anywhere? No, I don't. I'm using MP lower, and this is the upper. Man, it's the tip of my tongue. I want to put it I want to just throw it in a subtitle or something. But and this is a cheapy old Walmart on Amazon scope. I haven't shot it yet. I've had it for a while. I just haven't shot it. Little blade, little stabilizer, arm brace. Yeah, I'm just trying to remember the name of who built this thing. I just don't. Good grief. Oh, Radical Firearms. Radical. Like I said, it's a cheapy. The whole thing was like under $500, I think it was. Radical Firearms. So this is made by. I'm not sure if it's made by Radical or if they got it from someone else. It came absolutely unlubed. It came with the gun. No lube at all on none of the rails and internally. I would say this might be a sort of a lower end bolt, maybe chromed. It's just what was it, phosphate or whatever, phosphated. Yeah, this fire pin looks nice. Wish the camera stay in focus. Yeah, cotter key is a cotter key. I don't know if there's anything tricky with that. Especially with that. That's your little fire pin. There's someone out there racing on the street. And here's your bolt. MP. Yeah. It came absolutely zero greased. No oil, no nothing. Your little ejector pin. It's actually sort of, yeah. It's nice. I really wish. Let's see if I can get a zoom on that. So yeah, it's a nice bolt carrier. I would say it's probably maybe lower end, I'm thinking. So there's my you see it pours, it runs like honey. And I actually have a Delton AR I kept in an unAC'd heat all year long in the summertime here in Houston. And I was really curious if it standing up would any oil all migrate out. 'Cause a lot of times when you have it standing up, the oil will begin to run out, and then you see a lot along the seam here. That's where all the oil pool and run down. It'll find its way to run down, or it'll end up running down to the buffer tube and out the hole in the back of it. And that was my thing. So I had this AR actually in the garage in the heat all summer long, just to see if this would actually thin up and then make a mess. And it didn't. Everything stayed put. I yanked the firearm apart, and everything stayed put. So if you live in a hot air location, this works great. And like I said, if you live in a cold location, this stuff works. It works great because it doesn't glue stuff together. So here's your bolt. This is what I do when I lube my AR stuff up. In fact, let me pop this pin here because once I get everything open and done, it's gonna be easier. So here's your bolt. I put nothing on the face at all. Never, never, never on the bolt lugs. Nothing, nothing, nothing. But you see your gas rings here, and you see this little neck support surface right here. All this here rides back and forth up inside of your bolt. And in fact, maybe next week I'll take it because I've never shot this, so maybe next week I'll take it shooting and see if I can see any wear patterns. A lot of times, again, the wear patterns will, the wear patterns will tell you where the wear is contacting. And where you see wear patterns is where you should actually lube your firearm. So I just sort of be generous. I mean, why be skimpy? This stuff is cheap. It stays put. And the cool thing also about this direct impingement, if it gets into the action a little bit, when you pull the trigger, it just blows it out. I don't get nothing back here. I don't get nothing inside there. But along your gas rings and this little neck support, this is where your bolt, what's it called? Your bolt guide or your, that's what turns your lugs. I can't remember what it's called now. It's okay though. Now, your bolt itself, I put enough on that so when I insert it into your carrier, all of that will be nice and nice and ready to go. Don't forget your ejector always faces on this side. You don't want to eject your firearm. There you go. You don't want to eject your shells into your firearm. You want to eject them out. That's why that's always when you face your AR, you always want to make sure that your ejector is always on this side of your firearm, not that side. Now, if a little bit of grease from touching it gets on the lugs and everything, that's not a big deal. Really not. If I can get this in there. Sometimes line it up. Now I have these gloves on. These gloves are not wanting to cooperate. There you go, buddy. Now, I'm going to do something with that in a minute. Now, I'll put nothing on a fire pin. Don't put no oil on a fire pin. Just for the fact that when this does get all dirty and any kind of carbon gets inside there. Yeah, there you go. Look at that. You don't want to make your firing pin for some reason seize up and be in the fired position. Because when your bolt goes home, you will go into an uncontrolled full auto. So you don't want that. You want your firing pin to be completely free. It's your cotter key. Sometimes I do order my cotter key up just a little bit, just keep it a little greasy. And like I said before, when you go and clean your firearm after range day, with this grease on your firearm, this is gonna make it so much easier to actually clean. Now, this is where people are gonna say, "What the heck?" This camming. This is your camming pin. I couldn't remember what it's called. This is what makes your bolt turn and lock and unlock. Little part right there. That's your camming pin. So what I do is sometimes I get a small bottle, but you just get a little bit like this, a little bit, and I actually do pour some on inside there. I do that. Then I cam it back, and then I could turn it around and I try to pour some on the front side. Look at that. And it's not a lot, just a little, little squirt. And let it all squish out and everything. And again, if you get a lot of lube inside there, again, when you pull the trigger and that gas goes in there and throws this bolt out, you can probably see the gas rings right there. It's gonna blow anything. It's the pressures and everything. It's just gonna blow everything right out. So now we have your internal stuff lubed up. On an AR, you see right here, that's a rail here. That's a rail. Over here is a rail. Right here is actually another rail that goes right here and kind of right there. And on here side, there's a rail here. And those rails, that's what slides inside your AR. Touching these rails is aluminum, whatever alloy they use, but it's aluminum that's sliding. This is sliding back and forth on, and it is kind of somewhat imperative to get this oiled, because this is what is a lot of. If you put a lot of rounds to your rifle and you don't lube this, you will slowly wear down your upper, actually, because this won't wear down as fast as the steel, as fast as your aluminum will. So get a little bit of honey, and usually what I do, put a little bit back there, and then I just sort of just go ahead and. Another reason why I do this, I'm off camera, I'm sorry. The way around do this again when you're after range day is over with this oil on there and all that carbon on your firearm, depending on how much you shoot and how often you clean it. Basically, you get a rag and just wipe it off for the most part. And that is basically how I lube my bolt up. And now my hands are all greasy. So let me take my glove off because I left this back in ungreased. I'm using my MP15 lower. And actually I do, in the buffer tube, I do put grease back here because your spring is sliding back and forth. If you ever got a brand new AR and it's not really lubed up, and you pull that your charging handle back, and you hear this little gritty slide of the spring inside the buffer tube, it's because it's dry. Throw a little, just dip your finger in there and you just put it on the buffer spring, and you'd be amazed how much how much it quiets that spring down, and how much it really helps. That's the metal spring that is riding inside of a aluminum tube, and you probably won't wear a hole in it. You probably won't, but again, it's just all about the longevity of your firearm. So. If I can get this in there if I can get this in like this. Oh, right. Sorry. Don't like it right there. So that's how it looks. Now, I don't go inside and lube the inside because I put enough on this that the transfer, it's there. You see it's so shiny. All my ARs look shiny. Even, you really can't tell back there. I do actually lube the bottom of the bolt a little bit because it does ride across the hammer. And that is how I lube my ARs and my handguns. Excuse me. And again, this is easy to make, cheap. If you want to go fancy, you can get the full synthetic, pure oil, and a full synthetic bearing grease. I went with just basic red bearing grease and the regular old gear lubricant. 85/40, 85 weight 40, 140. And again, there's no exact recipe, as long as it has, you see it just slowly, as long as it has that honey consistency, that's really all that's needed. You can get a little bottle like this for your handguns. I got another bottle similar to this that has a larger spout, and usually I use that for my ARs and everything. But all my ARs are lubed just like that. If you want to, you can go in there and get a little one of those. You can lube all your springs and your pins and stuff. Some people do. That's why you see just a little bit of oil here, because I do actually on my this one here and my Delton. I actually put a little bit of oil, my little mixture, on those little pins, because those again those are your safety and your all the stuff is moving pieces that are steel pieces moving with the inside of an aluminum lower. So you gotta a little lube won't hurt none. So maybe next week if I get some time, I want to just put some rounds to this, see how it shoots. Again, it's a cheap scope. I may, it's more of a toy. There ain't no way I'm gonna use this for home defense, because it'd be like a flashbang going off in your house. So we just wait for that. But that is all I got. But yeah, all my firearms lubed same way. Again, open your firearm, take it apart, and inspect your firearm and see where those wear parts are. Where where is the metal touching metal? Wearing the finish off. That's where you probably need to put a little bit of oil just for a little impact, cushioning, and lubrication. So that's all I got today. And I kind of hope you enjoyed. Hope you enjoyed this. All right.